Hey there, I'm Vashti, an acrylic painter based out of Colorado, and I suffer from anxiety. I wish I could tell you how many times I have sat outside a store in my car and cried about having to go inside. I wish it was a small number, but it's so big, I stopped counting. I wish I could remember the amount of times I've come home from an outing absolutely exhausted from putting all my energy into being social with the people that are surrounding me. And I really wish I could tell you the amount of times I have talked myself out of doing something that I want to do because I'm scared of being perceived by others. I wish I could tell you I had all the answers to cure this dysfunction in my life, but unfortunately, like all the other questions, I don't know. I don't know why the joys in my life come so hard. I don't know why the simple tasks feel like such an accomplishment. Just going to the grocery store, just saying hi to a passing person on the road. I don't know. But the thing I do know, the one constant that I do have, is my art. Even on days where all I want to do is hide from the world and be as small as possible, in my art, I can be big. So freaking big. I can be loud in texture and color and contrast. I can be loose or I can be refined. I can be bold or I can play it safe. In my world, I can be and do anything I want. In my work, I feel free to explore self-expression, sometimes that I'm not ready to do in the real world. It's like a preempt for trying it out in the real world. And for that, I will be forever grateful to art. When I started painting during the pandemic, I was at a really low point. My marriage was falling apart, and I was a stay-at-home mom to 2 little ones, trying to navigate through all of that while also trying to get my identity back apart from that. It was kind of like drowning in the middle of the ocean all by yourself, and there's really no reason for you to call out for someone to try to save you. There's no one around to help. But for some strange reason, you finally decide to call out anyway, and out of nowhere, a helping hand appears and leads you to safety. That was art for me in 2020. I say that was the true rebirth of Vashti. And we all know how 2020 was. Like, that was the worst year. I mean, even 2021 through 2022, even I feel like now we're still recovering from what 2020 did. But through everything that it took away from us, it gave me art. And I didn't realize how big art has been in my life this whole time. I just wasn't really paying attention to it. Even as a child, I would draw anytime I felt super overwhelmed because it was kind of like I could lose track of time. I could just put everything else aside and focus on whatever I was doing. And even now, I have been using that as a way to quiet my mind when my anxiety takes over, and it is a more positive way of passing my time than my self-destructing behavior that I was doing in the past. I'm going to be really vulnerable here for a second, so trigger warning. I don't want to trigger anybody, but here's your trigger warning. If you don't want to hear about self-harm or anything like that, then I would either fast forward this video or go to a different video because I'm about to talk about that. Me and my anxiety are like water and oil, and it's not a good mix. It doesn't mix well, and that sometimes led with me self-harming. I started self-harming when I was 12. That was the first time I did that. It was right after my mom passed, and it was a really rough time. I mean, as you can imagine, a 12-year-old losing their mom. I learned about it when I was at school. I was in 7th grade, and a couple other kids were talking about it, and this one girl was doing it, and people were making fun of her because she had scars all over her arms. But when I got to know this girl, she was so sweet. She was one of the kindest people I've ever met, and just seeing how calm she was and seeing her arms covered in scars kind of gave me the idea of, oh, that's why she's so calm. Like, she's so chill. All these kids are making fun of her and she doesn't seem fazed, and it's probably because she's self-harming, so she knows how to like control it. So that kind of gave me the okay to try it, which led me down a really dark hole. To this day, it's hard for me to talk about it because I wish it was something that I could say I put behind me in my adolescence, but it definitely followed me into my adulthood. Even to this day, I still have my bad days and I still struggle, and that's why I go to therapy weekly, because it's something that I need for my anxiety. I need to keep it at bay, and I'm scared sometimes that I'll relapse, and that's why art for me is just so important, because I have been able to substitute self-harm for art. So anytime I feel like I want to self-harm or I'm feeling triggered in any kind of way, I will do art. And I feel like that has helped me be accountable, because I don't want my kids to feel like that's the solution. As you guys, like I said, I have 2 kids, and how they view me really matters. And for a long time, I would keep it a secret because I felt very like immature. Like, it's very childish to self-harm. That's my thought process on it. Or it's a white thing, only white people self-harm, because in the POC community, again, it's frowned upon to not only have it, but to talk about it and admit it. And when I was really struggling when I was younger, it was hard to find an outlet of somebody to talk to about it, because they're like, why are you doing this? Why are you acting like this? Why are you trying to be white? And it's like, I'm not trying to be anything. I'm actively struggling and screaming for help. This is my way of screaming for help. And through my art, I just have found that sharing your story could really save someone's life. And I don't ever want to feel like my story is not valid to me because of somebody else's beliefs on it. Like, just because you feel like it's a white thing doesn't mean that it's not real to me, a brown person. So I've decided to dedicate my art and my journey of self-expression to healing myself and also healing others, because I know what it feels like to not have someone, and I never want somebody else to feel that. But I just wanted to share that kind of backstory with you guys, so you guys can kind of know me a little bit more intimately, and for you to know why I push so strongly mental health when it comes to art, because it is very, very close to me in my heart. And if you relate or you know somebody who can relate, I would like you to share this video with them, so maybe they can know that they're not alone in this journey, and there is another side, and we can make our struggles beautiful and use them to help others. But yeah, that's all I had to say today. I hope you guys stick around for my art journey and my growth journey all around. I would love for you guys to stick around. And until next time, bye, beautiful people.